All right then, grade 7, we're going to look at lesson 3 first of all, but let's just take a moment, a pause. Before moving on, let's start with the opening prayer. May the wisdom of the all-compassionate one so shine within our hearts and minds this day, that we may be enlightened in our acts, thoughts and deeds. So shall we learn to be true, good and happy, and attain the spiritual peace. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. So welcome students. First of all, let's recall the previous lesson, all about sharing our gifts, talents, intelligences, and the multiple types of intelligences. I'd like to ask some of you to share what you have learned in that lesson. Firstly, just sort of do that. That's about discovering one's talents and skills. And those young Filipino achievers, remember? Amin and Arian Wen, one who discovered biodegradable plastic bags and other tumor curing properties of malunggay. Okay, so I'd like to, what did you realize from that? What did you learn? Then, let's move on to lesson 3. Discovering one's interests. We're on page 27 with lesson 3. A quote: "The secret of happiness is this: let your interests be as wide as possible," that should be, spelling mistake, wide as possible, "and let your reactions to the things and persons that interest you be as far as possible friendly." It's by Bertrand Russell, a British philosopher. We're going to try organizing ourselves into groups according to food preferences. Which is your food preference? A, pork. B, chicken. C, beef. D, vegetables. Answer and submit. And which is your movie preference? A, action. B, romance. C, sci-fi. And D, horror. Answer and submit. Which is your social media preference? A, Facebook. B, Instagram. C, Twitter. Or D, Tumblr. Okay, answer and submit. Now students, let's look at the groups you fall into according to your food preferences. And now students, how about the groups you are in according to your movie preferences? And now students grouped according to your social media preferences. So I think that for online classes, I'll be doing this in the GC by, you submit your preference, I'll make a table and I'll share the table into the GC, okay? How come no one category got the category of the whole class? Answer and submit. As a guideline, I would like to say that no category got the preference of the whole class because, well, we are all different. Hope you got an answer, something like that. What could be the benefit of having varied interests? Please answer and submit. is a guideline, the whole world would be a more dynamic, interesting and beautiful place because of our varied interests. But find your own thoughts, your own words, something around that area. You might have another answer, and I'd be interested to see that too. Now let's read the text on page 27. Ready? Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. The stage of adolescence is a beautiful time to explore new interests. Looking back at the 2 previous lessons, you have come to learn that adolescents go through physical, emotional, intellectual, and social changes. These various changes inspire and move them to pursue interesting and challenging activities which can make them better persons in the future. Have you heard about the Loboc Children's Choir? Learn how the common interest of a group of children and adolescents changed their lives, inspired other people, and brought honor to the country. Victories of Life, the Loboc Children's Choir. In 1980, 30 school children from Loboc Central Elementary School were selected to be part of the school choir. Initially, the choir was intended to sing at school and community events. Fueled by their common interest and burning passion for music, the Loboc Children's Choir soon received national and worldwide acclaim. In 1996, the choir toured key cities in the United States in a concert dubbed On Angel's Wings, from Bohol to the world. Then in 1999, they sang with the World Youth Orchestra during the latter's concerts in Bohol and Cebu. The following year, they represented the Philippines at the International Children's Culture and Arts Festival in Tianjin, China, and held concerts in Beijing and Hong Kong. In 2017, the Loboc Children's Choir showcased their talent at the 56th Concorso Internazionale di Canto Corale Segesi in Gonzaga, Italy, where they won first place in choral arrangements of folk, traditional, spiritual, gospel, pop, and jazz. They also received the Children's Prize Award and Audience Award. Despite being part of one of the most outstanding choirs in the Philippines, the members of the Loboc Children's Choir continue to remain humble and work hard during practices. On to page 28. Led by their conductor, we're already on 28. Led by their conductor, Alma Fernando Taldo, fondly called Mam Taldo, they also sing in prisons, hospitals, orphanages, and homes for the aged. The wonderful voices of the Loboc Children's Choir continue to bring hope, love, and joy to all people. There we got to the end of that article. Okay, dear students, let's process the story. Their common interest and passion for music has helped the Loboc Children's Choir receive worldwide acclaim. Also, the Loboc Children's Choir shows us how our talents and interests can be used to serve others. I would like to ask you students the following questions. What is the story all about? Please answer and submit. Okay, here's a guideline. The story is about a group of elementary school children who, despite their humble origins, received worldwide acclaim. That's just a guideline. Use your own words in your own way. Or an alternative answer I would be interested to see. What do you think helped the Loboc Children's Choir succeed in their endeavor? You can pause the video here to answer in your own way and look at the text on the PDF. Here's a guideline. Their common interest and passion for music help the Loboc Children's Choir succeed in their endeavour. And what is the lesson of the story? You can pause here while you go and answer that. Guideline. The lesson of the story is to discover one's interests and follow his or her heart. Next question. How can you relate the story in your own life? Pause here and do your own words. Here's a guideline. Your answers may vary. However, I'd like to highlight the importance of discovering one's talent and also serving others. Okay, moving on. We're on to the In Flames on the middle of page 28. Are you a part of a group who share a common interest? How do you share your talent to other people? The members of the Loboc Children's Choir practiced not just singing, but also camaraderie, deep friendship, and a common mission. They may be bound by their interest and love for music, but they also use music as a way to convey their message of hope, love, and patriotism to other people. Have you explored things or activities that you are interested in? Go ahead and discover new things, and perhaps in doing so, you may also be a blessing to others. There is a question there. It hasn't been put as a green box, but you could also answer this. It'll be coming up too. Class, the story tells us that everyone has a talent, and we just need to celebrate it and use it to serve others. I'd like to please ask you students to answer the reflection questions on page 28, and then I'd like to solicit some volunteers to share their answers. Reflection. 1. Are you a part of a group, organization or club in school? Describe your group, organization or club below. Pause and then answer submit. Do you think it is important for a student like you to be part of a group, organization or club in school? Why? 3. How does your group or organization or club in school help you to become a better person? So rediscover, this refers to page 29. Please read together and follow. Our intelligences influence our interests. In the previous lesson, you learned that all people have different kinds of talents or intelligences. Perhaps now you are very much aware of your own unique gifts that, in a way, influence your interests. A person who is musically talented will be interested in singing, composing songs, watching musical shows, joining the choir, and the like. A person who has a bodily kinesthetic intelligence will be interested in playing and watching sports and joining the varsity. A person who has a visual spatial intelligence will be interested in viewing artworks, painting, sculpting, and will have a good fashion sense. Maths intelligence will spur a person gifted with it to love statistics, solve number puzzles like the Sudoku, and choose a career in accounting. A naturalist intelligence, on the other hand, will incline a person to know all about gardening, learn about taking care of animals, and love to walk in the woods, and so on and so forth. Are you aware that there are Filipino personalities or groups that are models of excellence in your field of interest? For example, Fernando Amorosolo and Carlos Botong Francisco are well-known painters. They continue to inspire people who are interested in visual arts. Miss Leia Salongo is well admired by people who are interested in stage acting and singing. Manny Pacquiao inspires people who would like to try their hand at boxing. People who have an inclination for playing classical musical instruments look up to the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra. Those who are interested in choral singing see the Philippine madrigal singers as their role models. In school, there are various groups, organizations, clubs that cater to the various interests of students. It is a good idea to join one or two groups which interest you and will help you improve your knowledge and skills. It will be a good opportunity to know other students and interact with them. After all, you already have a common interest, so striking up a conversation and starting friendships with them will be easier. Do you know that the development of our interests also contributes to the fulfillment of our duties, prepares us for our future profession, can jumpstart our business, and influence how we help the community? Since we have different kinds of talents or intelligences, it is understandable that each person will be pursuing different things. However, our inner gifts will guide us to our future profession or business and move us to help those in need based on our capacities. It is important that we discover and embrace our interests and talents and develop them so that we can become productive citizens in the future. Okay? Good. So now let's process this and have an activity. Students, I'd like you to remember your unique intelligence that you have rediscovered in Lesson 2. Do you remember that? That's on page 19. So there's mathematical logical intelligence, musical intelligence, visual spatial intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, naturalist intelligence, and existential intelligence. Dear students, I'd like you to group up according to your unique intelligences. Then I'd like to ask the groups to determine 3 common interests among all members. So you should be getting better at making the groups and joining the groups and communicating inside the groups, yeah? Using our system that we're currently using. Okay, and that may transition when we're in class from online. Let's see, I won't commit to exactly the method we're using for grouping on this video. Okay, now I'd like to let all students answer the 3-2-1 chart, and then I'd like to solicit the responses of the groups. That's made up of 3 sections, 3 things that I've discovered about my interest, 2 things that I can do to pursue or further develop my skills, talents and interests, 1 goal that I hope to achieve this year that is aligned with my talents and interests. So we're on page 30 now. I would like to process the activity by emphasizing that our unique intelligence influences our interests. Mini performance task. I'd like to challenge the group to come up with 1 class activity wherein you discuss the importance of pursuing and developing one's interests, as well as sharing the interests of other people. Now, page 30, halfway down, valuing a virtue. So now, dear students, please read page 30. Class, the featured virtue is humility. Humility consists not of thinking less of yourself, looking down on oneself, but on thinking of yourself less, not putting on superior airs or developing a feeling of supremacy. Humility is critical if a person desires to improve and become excellent. There's the illustration. People who have achieved a lot of awards. Do you know a very humble person? Can you describe how it feels to talk to and relate with a person who is not full of himself or herself? Humility is the quality or state of being humble. Being humble doesn't necessarily mean having a low estimate of one's own importance. When another person praises you for a job well done or for beautiful facial or body features, it is all right to accept the praise graciously with a smile and a thank you. It does not negate humility. Humility pertains to being modest and not bragging constantly about one's status, skills, or talents. The author, C.S. Lewis, described humility as not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. How can being humble help a young person further develop his or her skills and interest? Pause and then you can answer and submit. When we are humble, we acknowledge that there are people who are better than us, from whom we can learn. We become receptive to their teachings and welcome constructive criticism. Humility allows us to accept that we still have room for improvement and that the path to excellence is a constant learning process. Now let's look at the trivia on page 31. Have you ever felt so curious about something that you really tried to discover all the details about it? Answer and submit. Or pause here while you do that. Your answers may vary, a guideline here, but I'd like to highlight the importance of curiosity and its link to one's interests. And the trivia. The word interest. The word interest came from the Latin term interessa, meaning a state of curiosity. Hence, to be interested in something means that we are actually satisfying our curiosity. Students, please read Uplifting Realizations on page 31. Uplifting realizations. When we seek to engage in things that are beneficial not only for us, our family, and other people, we are actually celebrating the gift of life and talents that were bestowed upon us. This is also, I want to point out, this is a Christian idea that gifts are given. But in Buddhism, karma means that you develop skills over very many lifetimes. It's a different. It's a bit like evolution and creationism. They have a different way that things come into being. All people have different talents, skills, and interests. Without a doubt, such talents complement one another. These then contribute to an interesting life and a wonderful world. The challenge, however, lies in our desire and commitment to use our interests for the betterment of the world and the lives of all men and women. Now, please do the activity points to ponder. So there it is. We're on the bottom of page 31. In the boxes below, write your intelligence or talent and the interests that are revealed to it. Revealed is also a bit of a Christian or theistic way of looking at things, but we are following the author's ideas along with an objective viewpoint. Yes, so intelligence and how the interests are connected to it. Intelligence and the interests that it leads to. Please volunteer to share your answers with the class. When you submit them to me, say, yes, I would like, could you share this to the class, please? Yeah, that's an important point. Write down 3 of your interests in the table below. And now we are over the page, we're on to page 32. Write down 3 of your interests in the table below and in the table below and beside each. Write the name of the person or group that can serve as your inspiration or role model. Then, under the third column, write a short description of the qualities of your role models. Those positive qualities. Okay? Please volunteer to share your answer with the class. It shouldn't say refers to page 31. It should be 32, like that. Okay, the engagement part. Summative test. Identify the person or the concept that is being described by the following items. Write your answer on the space before the number. 1. This refers to the quality of state of being humble. 2. This refers to the Latin term which means a state of curiosity. 3. This refers to the author who described humility as not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. The name of that author. 4. This refers to the choir from Bohol province whose interest and passion in singing has brought numerous awards to the country. What's their name, that choir? Continuing, this refers to the intelligence and interest of national artists Fernando Amorsol and Carlos Botong Francisco. What kind of intelligence is that one? 6. This refers to the intelligence and interest of thespian. Thespian is an actor or actress, someone who is acting in drama on the stage or television, but mainly on the stage, theatres. Ms. Lea Salong. 7. This refers to the intelligence and interest of boxer Senator Manny Pacquiao. 8. This refers to the intelligence and interest of the Philippine madrigal singers. 9. This refers to the intelligence and interest of the members of the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra. We're now on page 33. 10. This refers to the groups in school whose members share the same interests. They can also help you hone your talents and skills. That means to develop. Hone means to develop and sharpen, or to create it better and better and better. Please answer and submit. And moving on. Sharing our common interests. Page 33. Do you I'd like to call for volunteers to summarize the lesson. Then I'd like to ask students to do the engagement on page 33. I'd like to kindly ask the students to do the activity on page 34. But first, to make sure this has gone right. So then I'd like to ask 5 students to share their proposed student organization and hold a mock sign-up. Okay. So there's a kind of more like a mini PT there. So we're back to page 33. Do you like to sing, dance, or act? What do you usually do during break time? Do you play basketball or go to the library and read? Who among your classmates share the same interests as you have? Among your classmates, form small groups that share a common interest. Then create a short program promoting and celebrating your common interests. Plan your presentation and use the following slides. Okay, so this is going to be part of your performance task. Group name, the interest. What do you plan to do? How do you plan to do it? As tasking. Here's the tasking part. The member name and then the task they're going to do. And then materials needed. Clear? How did you feel after presenting your interests to the class? What have you discovered? Page 34. Okay, let's move on. Page 34, planning our activities. In your school, there are various clubs or youth organizations that cater to the varied interests of the students. Student organizations offer numerous interesting activities, provide support and motivate the members to work on their common interests. Most of the time, the student organizations also have fundraising activities that donate proceeds to charity. Now, that is one way of having fun and helping too. Imagine that you are the president of a student organization. What would be the fun and interesting activities that you will propose for the organization? For the organization members to do? Share your plans below. Here's the name of the organization. Those are the activities. So they've given 5 as an example. All right, moving on. Please do the case study on pages 34 to 35 and then volunteer if you want to share your answers. Situation 1. One of your classmates is a stage actor and a very good singer. He is a member of the prestigious theatre group and has appeared on national television. At every opportunity, your classmate boasts of his singing prowess and his superb acting skills. Despite his accomplishments, he has very few friends. How can you help your classmate rediscover the value of humility? Possible solution 1, solution 2, the best solution, and a question. Is it possible to be a very talented and successful person and yet remain humble? Please answer and submit those. On to page 35. Situation 2. Your younger sister has a lot of interests and hobbies. She likes to play volleyball, compose songs, paint abstract pictures, and take beautiful photos of birds. One day she approached you and asks for advice. since she feels that she cannot seem to excel in one hobby. She complains that her volleyball skills are average. Most of her original songs are yet to be completed. Her paintings look ordinary, and most of her photos are blurry. How can you help your sister excel in her interests? Possible solution 1, solution 2, the best solution. And what is that one skill that you have, which you constantly work on to develop and master? All right, so moving on, situation analysis review. I would like to ask some volunteers to share their answers now. So make it clear to me that you're happy to have those shared with the group as well. Our answers may vary, but I want you to highlight more or less the following ideas. Case 1, we have to be humble in victory. This is the classmate who was a stage actor and good singer. He has few friends, you know. How can he's a bit boastful. We have to be humble in victory and in our accomplishments and gracious in defeat. Case 2, which is the one where the younger sister has lots and lots and lots of interests and hobbies. Focusing on a specific interest allows us to excel in it. Answer and submit your things. So onto the scaffolding for the performance task. We're on page 35. I'd like to ask the students to create a concept map about your intelligence, interests and skills and how they contribute to the fulfillment of their duties. Prepare them for their future profession, jumpstart their business and influence how they can help the community. So please see the guidelines on how to make a concept map on page 35. I'll be showing you that in a little while. So the scaffolding for the performance task. A concept map is a type of graphic organizer used to help students organize and represent knowledge of a subject. Concept maps begin with a main idea or concept and then branch out to show how that main idea can be broken down into specific topics. Create a concept map about your intelligence, interests, and your skills and how they contribute to the fulfillment of your duties. Prepare you for your future profession. Jumpstart your business and influence how you can help the community. Start with a main idea, topic, issue to focus on. A helpful way to determine the context of your concept map is to choose a focus question, something that needs to be solved or a conclusion that needs to be reached. Once a topic or question is decided on, that will help with the hierarchical structure. That's like a pyramid, triangular pyramid. Hierarchical structure, like going from low to high, of the concept map. You'll see in a moment. Example, what are my intelligence, interests, and skills? Then determine the key concepts. Find the key concepts that connect and relate to your main idea and rank them. Most general, inclusive concepts come first, the bigger ones. Then link to smaller, more specific concepts. For example, if the overall theme was food shopping in Davao, that was the big subject. A general one might be Bangkirohan Market, and then another one might be the malls, but not saying which ones, or sari stores. So those might be 3 big ones, and then you would have mini ones coming from that, like where to buy coconuts, where to buy bananas, where to buy vegetables, where to buy noodles, where to buy rice. So example, the intelligence is first, might be visual, spatial. It's one of those 6 main ones. The interest might be photography, and then the skills can create photos that evoke love for nature. Okay? So finish by connecting concepts, creating linking phrases and words. So how to link those up. Once the basic links between the concepts are created, add cross-links which connect concepts in different areas of the map to further illustrate the relationships and strengthen your understanding and knowledge on the topic. So here's your example. So this explains it all. At the first at the top, you'll have the name, and then the type of intelligence, the type of interests, the type of skills. So your visual and spatial intelligence goes on to say, I think in images and pictures and good in visualizing things, and am good in visualizing, I should say. And then another one, I believe that a picture speaks 1,000 words. So someone who's very visual. Next one, interests. I want to further improve my photography skills. That's the interest. And the skills, I'm interested in photography. I want to be a landscape photographer and inspire people to take care of our environment. Yeah? There it is. Moving on. Page 36. And this is the rubric, we call this, which is how it will be scored. If you did really well, you get 3 points. Not so well, 1 point. 3 points, to get 3 points, the concept map, like this one, should have a high quality. It's very appealing and skillfully done. It should have unity, that the concepts, they go together well. They're highly cohesive. They stick together well. And highlighting each other. And the purpose, well, the output achieves the task objectives successfully, convincingly. For 1 point, the collage, well, the concept map has a low quality. So it shouldn't say collage there, it should say concept map. Concept map has a low quality, it is not appealing and unskillfully done. Unity, nah, the concepts they're pretty unrelated. And the purpose, well, it doesn't achieve the task's objectives. Righty, so you can screenshot this and use that. But it shouldn't say collage, it should say concept map. They're different things. Moving on. Here's the summary on page 37. So the stage of adolescence is a beautiful time to explore new interests and share such interests with other people. In school, there are various clubs or youth organizations that cater to the varied interests of the students. Then, when we seek to engage in things that are beneficial, not only for us, our family, and other people, we are actually celebrating the gift of life and talents that were bestowed upon us. Or in Buddhism, we earned through developing them over lifetimes. Next, we are called to use our interests for the betterment of this world and the lives of all men. Okay, a quote from Irma Bombeck. When I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I would not have a single bit of talent left, and I could say, I used everything you gave me. Good old Irma. I wonder where she is now. I wonder if she actually got to do that. Let's take a moment to breathe. Relax. And let's go with the closing prayer. Reverently do we pray to Thee, the Holy and Perfect One. We earnestly resolve to understand Thy teaching and to daily tread Thy path. So shall, like Thee, we may attain the peace of Nirvana. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. Well done, everyone. Go ahead.